Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to take a look at how to actually add an image. So we have our phone ready to go. We've got the cut lines prepared. Everything is awesome about it except we want to put some images on it. So let's get to it. First of all, the laser cuts the image by either turning the laser on or turning it off. It is an all on, all off kind of thing. So what we need is an image. And remember, it turns it on whenever it sees the color black. So we need to get a way to turn our images from being whatever they are and grays and everything else into black and white. Not like a black and white photo that has like blacks and grays and light grays and dark grays and all that. I mean, you can have two colors, solid black or white. And those are the two colors in your picture you can be. So I'll show you how to do that. First of all, we need to go get some inspiration and head out to the internet and find us a picture that we really like. I like to realistic stuff, so I like to look at charcoal drawings of stuff. And this is mountains, but I don't want mountains. Actually, you know what? That looked pretty wicked cool. Where was it? Oh, there it is. I'm going to try this one. So what I like about this one is I see there's lots of white space, like white colors here and white colors here, and dark with some whites and some whites here. What we want are some high contrasting things like that. If we have all just a whole bunch of grays, it's going to get washed out. Because remember, what we're going to do is we're going to set a certain color of gray. And we're going to say anything darker than this color of gray in the middle somewhere, anything darker than that goes totally black. Anything lighter than that gray, any of the lighter grays go totally white. So we're going to simplify the picture down to two different pictures. And this one might be good too, because it has all these like intermittent lines in it. So I might actually start with this one. This is a pretty cool one. Copy image. So all I do is I copy the image, right? Click and copy. Come down here to Inkscape and just hit a quick paste. And right now if I zoom in on this, and to zoom what you're going to do is hold down the control key. So using your mouse ball, the roller goes up and down. In Fusion 360 that zoomed us in and out, so it's a little different. In this one you've got to hold down the control key on the keyboard and then roll your mouse ball, and now you can zoom in and out. To move left and right and up and down, push your controller in, right? Push the mouse ball down like a button, and now you can move it side to side and all around. Oh, that looks kind of fun. Ooh, could make me motion sick. Oh, hey, have a nice night, Craig. I stayed too late. Everybody's leaving and letting me know they're going. That's not cool. So I'm last in the building tonight, I guess. Now this one, notice my picture is wider than it is high. So I'm going to actually in the end need to rotate this picture and put it on sideways on my stand. But we'll do that later. Right now, let's just try and get a good black and white of this. Like when I say black and white, I mean only two colors. Notice how there's all these grays in here? Let me show you how to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up here to Path. And we're going to do trace bitmap. And that's going to open up this window that's going to ask us what intensity we want to trace at. And what we're going to do is set the brightness threshold. That's that level of gray, which anything darker than that gray is going to go straight black. Anything lighter than that gray is going to be just disappear as white. So if you look in here where the river is, right? There's all this really light gray in here, but that light gray is less than the threshold, so it just got deleted as white. And over here, there's this really dark black and this dark gray. Both of them got turned to solid black. So at this point, there's only two colors, white and black. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click OK. It's going to overlay that right on top. In fact, notice how my new drawing, it doesn't include this stuff because it was too light to even show up. But you can see where this black part is now is where the black has been laid over it. So I'm going to grab this and drag it off to the right and say, you know what? That looks pretty good. Like I'm pretty happy with the way that turned out. But I don't want to stop there. I want to take a look at some more because there's some detail missing in the mountains that I would like. So I'm going to actually up the brightness threshold. And when I do that, what it does, it actually works kind of in, I'm going to click back over here on the picture. Before you do anything on the screen, on the OK button or update button, you've got to click on the picture of what you're using. So I'm going to click on that picture and I'm going to hit the update button. Notice how much more black gone in. So what it said now is when you up the brightness threshold, it actually goes down and grabs a lighter color gray and say, okay, everybody above this lighter gray is going all black. Anybody below this is staying white still. So you can see I filled in that river a little bit, and I've got some more detail in the mountains. So I'm going to go ahead and click, and oh, no, now I actually have some sky. So I've gotten light enough of my threshold that some sky is starting to show up. So I'm going to click on my picture. I'm going to click OK. It's overlaying it now. I'm going to pull it off to the side, and I'm going to, whoops, I grabbed the wrong one. That'll happen to you. I'm going to pull it down here. I'm going to compare these two. Well, gosh, to me, for my money, this is way better than that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete the one I didn't like as much, and I'm going to take it up another notch. So I was going up in brightness, so I'm going to go up to like 7.75. And the maximum here, to find the maximum in Inkscape, what I always do is I just type in a big number, so like 100 or 1000 in there. And when I hit enter, it'll go to the biggest number possible if it's less than 1000. So it'll click down to 1. And if I go here, remember I have to click on my picture before I do anything. And I click update, look what happens. So a brightness threshold of 1 means anything white or darker is turned to black. So everything is white or darker, so everything is turned to black. So if I click down here once, right, and I update this, you can see there's only a few things that are white on this whole screen. There's a few little pixels here that are white. But I'm going to go back down to, I forget where I was. So I'm going to go back down to, oops, a 0.7. I'm going to update that. And that might be where I was last time. So I'm going to go up to 0.75. And this is a little bit more. I can start seeing some clouds in here. I'm going to take a look at this. So don't judge it completely on this little thing. This is going to look very bad, and this is going to look much nicer. So once I think I might have something that look good, I'm going to go here, and that was 0.75, and I'm going to compare. I'm going to pull it down here and compare. And you know what? I don't like the clouds like this. I don't think they look very nice. So I'm actually going to delete that, and I'm going to keep this one because this is the best one so far. I'm going to bring this threshold back down some more. I'm going to try a 6.5. If I click update, notice nothing happens because I didn't click my picture first. So make sure your picture is highlighted. Hit update. I still have some clouds left, so I'm actually going to decrease the brightness more. I think this was probably 0.65 on that one. Go to 6.0. I'm going to hit update. And now I'm starting to see those clouds disappear. I'm going to try this last one and say OK. I'm going to look down here. And yeah, I don't know. I kind of like this one better. Even with these little wispy clouds up here, I think those are fine. But I do like all this detail in the mountain, so I'm kind of losing some of that when I look down here. So I think I may have it. All right. So now that I have it, this is my picture. Now watch this. This is actually pretty cool. I'm going to zoom in here really far in, like as far as that'll let me. And we can see, let me actually find a dark space to zoom into. See how blurry and awful this looks? Like all the lines, you can't even see them anymore. You can't see what's going on. But if I come over here to this one's what's called a vector graphic, which means it never gets blurry. It stays perfectly curvy all the way in, and it's a perfectly smooth line. So it's a really nice way to use things. So this is called a bitmap, which is made of a bunch of little points of color, like little squares of color. And this is made of what's called vectors, which are curves and lines that can be reproduced at any magnification. So I could blow this up to the size of a poster, and the lines would be super smooth. If I blew this picture up really big and put it on like a big poster, it would be all like blocky and boxes. You'd see the tiny little squares get bigger and bigger into big squares, and it wouldn't look good at all. All right. So let's talk about how to rotate this and fit it on. So the first way to rotate is the way we did before, is you just come up here and you can just click on this and rotate it. That looks pretty good. Now I've got to try and position it on there and resize it. So I can just grab the handles and try to drag and resize. And I don't have to worry about, I can cover up. Notice how right now I'm covering up part of this. Now it's hard to tell where the red is. So I'm going to do something, I'm going to change the layers. I'm going to put this down underneath the red lines. To do that, I just click on it, and there's an ordering thing here. This one is move it down one step. So if you have 4 or 5 objects stacked on top of each other, it would move it down one object at a time. This other one is move all the way to the bottom. When I do this, watch in the middle of the screen where that red little rectangle is for cutout. When I click that, boom, the red rectangle. Let me zoom in so you can see a little better. The red rectangle's on top now. If I go back up here and I say, hey, move to the top, now the red rectangle is behind. So if I put this black thing on the bottom, I can see the red and I can tell where everything is really well. Now there's no harm in having the picture you have, overlap with the hole. It's just going to cut a hole around it. It's not a big deal either way. So right there, that looks pretty good. My only issue right now is I've got some of this that's outside my phone stand. So I need to do what's called cropping. And I need to crop this. Now, normally you would do cropping and you would just grab a side and move it over and it would kind of chop the photo off instead of shrinking it. Inkscape doesn't have it like that. Inkscape has what's called clipping. And what you have to do first is you have to draw a shape that you want it clipped into. So let me show you how to do that. We're going to take a square here. And I'm going to draw that square from the top corner. Whoops. I'm going to click and drag to draw a square. And I'm going to stop the square right about there. I want to, no, because up here I'm going to lose that little piece. So I'm going to actually escape out of that. I'm going to go back to my pointer tool up here, my select tool. Select that square and actually, no, I'll just use this square because you can always resize it. So I'm going to put it like right about, oops. So sometimes it gets snappy and it snaps to stuff. When that happens, just use the arrow keys on your keyboard to move it around to where you want to be. So right about there is where I want to go. I want that corner to stay there. Yep, I'm going to move it. So I'm going to, oops. Right now I've got that stay locked together, left and right side. So I'm going to unlock that so I can change them independent of each other. I'm going to move this over to where I'm trying to build a box around it so I can just cut the things inside the box. That's how this program does. That's how Inkscape does cropping. You build an object around it and then you tell it to crop on the inside. So now I've got my box. I want to cut this to about like that. I'm actually going to move this out just a little bit because I don't want to lose that. And I'm going to click on the thing I want to cut, which is my black picture, and the red rectangle here. Oops. And to do that, I'm going to hold down the shift key to get both of them. So I've got the red rectangle right now. I'm going to shift and hold down and click on the black. And then I'm going to come up here to Object and do Clip and Set. And when it does that, you'll see all this extra little pieces off the stand. They're just going to go away. Gone. And also, the box that I created to do the clipping with also disappears. It assumes you don't want that. So now I've got my phone stand ready to rock and roll. Last thing I want you to do is I want you to add your name to both pieces so that as I'm cutting these, 50 phone stands, I don't lose track of whose piece is what. So to do that, I want you to come over here to the text tool, click on wherever you want to put it, and you can put it wherever you'd like. I'm going to put mine here and resize it, and I'll show you how to do that. Joshua, and then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say, I don't want 30 point text. I want something small, like, 8, 9, 10. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit so I can see it. And I'm going to keep black because remember, our laser cutter can only see black or red. So if I make this any other color, it won't engrave it for me. And black is engraved, red is the cut through. I don't want to cut the letters through. If I make this red, what it's going to do, it's going to cut an outline around this. A tiny little J in there. And it'll look really cool until you get to the O, and it cuts the O and the middle falls out. And it looks all goofy and weird. So we just want to engrave this with black. And what I want to do is I want to put that like right across here. So I'm going to have this, I'm going to rotate this. And so I'm going to go back. Oh, right now I'm in the text tool. So I'm going to actually change the text first because I want to change it to a different font. That's kind of cool looking. I think that's pretty cool looking. I think I'll take that one. There's tons of fonts to play with. I think I've used a different font on almost everything I've done just because there's so many of them. So now I'm going to click. So right now I'm on the text tool. I'm going to click on the select tool. And I'm going to click on well, actually I'm going to rotate it just by rotating it 90 degrees. And I'm going to put that right on there. Or maybe I'll put it here in the ocean. Who knows? Or in the lake. That's kind of cool looking. All right. And then I'm going to Control C and Control V, which copies it because I need one for the other piece as well. I'm going to come down to this piece and I'm just going to unrotate it because I want this one to be this way, I think. And then you know what? I'm going to change the font. So I'm going to click over here on the text edit tool and it brings up the fonts again. I'm going to come back down here and find a cool font. And, oh, Chiller. Okay, yeah, I like that. That's cool. I think that's neat. I'm going to go back to my select tool and I'm going to move it into the middle and try to line it up the best I can. Awesome. So that was using the brightness threshold to take an image and turn it into a black and white or an image with only black in it. And then how to do the text tool, how to rotate, and how to clip. So those are some pretty big things. I'm going to actually, if that's enough for you, you can start playing with pictures. I want to show you a few more and or one more picture at least and show you kind of what to look for and what not to look for when you're working for pictures in this. Oh, sorry. Actually, when you're done with all of this, what I want you to do is just do a file, save. And we should have done this earlier in the process, I guess. And you're going to save it as your first name and last name, and then the words phone stand. And then you're going to save that somewhere on your computer, and I'll talk to you. Oh, wait, no, I need to tell you right now. What are we going to do with this? Let's try this. I'll make a folder inside the Files tab in Teams, in our team, and it'll be called Phone Stand. And you drop your file, you save your file into that folder. Let's see if that works. And if that does work, I'll grab them out of there and then start cutting them on the printer. They are ready to cut at this point once you get your photo on there. My advice to you, on this step over here with the brightness thresholds, play with this for a long time. Go up and down by 0.1, 0.01, and really try and get that perfect threshold. It makes the biggest difference in the world. Don't be too quick with it. You'll be much happier with the outcome if you kind of spend some more time. You don't want a ton of black. The more black you have, the harder it is to see what's going on. You need blacks and whites like mixed in like this. Okay. All right, so now what I want to do is show you a few more pictures and show you some things that you don't want to use. So I'm going to just do a picture of, let's do Russell Wilson. So this picture, let's say this picture writes, yeah, this will be good. All right, this is a cool picture. So I'm like, I want to put that picture on there, right? So, okay, so I'm going to copy and paste it. Now here's the problem. I'm going to come back here to this, and I'm going to paste it right here. Oh, that's a huge picture. This one could take a little bit to do, but let's just play. Oh, notice I just tweaked it in a weird way. I'm going to undo that resize. I'm going to lock the two sides so they shrink together and not all weird and creepy. And then I'm going to come up here to Path and do a Trace Bitmap. And notice that when I do this, I'm not going to actually do it for real because it'll take a while to do a picture this size. But this 0.6, it says everything darker than this color goes black. And in this picture, everything is dark. Like this light blue back here is still a pretty dark color. The only thing that's not dark is this white. So I'm going to say, okay, I need to lower the threshold so more things are white. So I'm going to keep going down to about a 0.3 and I'm going to update. Now notice this is all black. Like even the 3 is still too dark. Even though it's a gray and this is a blue, they're close enough to each other we're not going to see them. If I keep lowering the threshold, I'll bring that 3 on next. Oh, look, now see how it's brought this lighter blue and it said, okay, now this lighter blue is lighter than the threshold, so it goes white. Everything around it, all this is still darker than the threshold. So I'm going to keep going down. I'm just not going to get a very satisfying picture. Now I'm starting to lose Russell's face here, and it's just not going to look very good. Let me go. I can start seeing the 3 now, actually. I'm going to go down 2 more times, update. Let me try and run this once and see what it does. Oh, it was quick. That was not a problem at all. So if I look at this, actually, you know what? It's not terrible, but all this black is going to be really hard. It's like, let me show you the Great Dane. It turned out okay, but all this black in the nose really makes it hard to see what's happening. This is probably not going to give you anything satisfying. Without having seen this picture, you probably won't be able to tell what this is on your phone. So if you're going to do a real picture, that's fine to do a color picture. You got to find something with a light background and lots of and your object and your person really focused well on. One of the things you might want to do is do this. If you want Russell Wilson, which is great, you could do drawing of Russell Wilson. Do a search for that. Now, this kind of a drawing of Russell Wilson is going to come out perfect. You're going to have all these little lines, but it's not very realistic looking. So if I come down here and I just search for somebody who's got like this is a really interesting picture. Like, that's cool. You could take this in and notice how there's all the whites back here, and then there's the dark colors. So that will actually pop really, really well. That'd be a really good one to use. This one is, even though it's blue, you're going to get a really nice, there's like dark colors and light colors, and you're going to get a really nice contrast there. And that's kind of what we're looking for. Let's see, this one will be okay because this light is so light back here, it'll get washed out. But there's a lot of dark going on. Let's just try this one real quick. So I'm going to do copy image. I'm going to bring it over and I'm going to do a paste. And already look how much nicer this looks. So this is too low a threshold. I want more black to stand out in there. So I click OK and I want to update that. That's looking kind of okay. Remember, it'll look way better when you do it for real. So I'm going to click OK and test that one out. Pull that off. And that's pretty darn good. Like, that looks like Russell Wilson. And this is going to print on your just like this. It won't print like this. It's going to print just like this. So notice how I've lost a little bit of detail here in Russell's nose and some of his cheek over here. So I might actually try and tap this up a few more and then click on my picture and click OK and drag this out. And then I've got, whoops, I dragged the wrong one. Drag this out, and now I've got to really take a hard look at these two and compare them and say, hey, what do I like better and worse? Well, they're pretty close together, aren't they? Yeah, so I have to really take a look at it. Like, there's a little more detail in the helmet here. I'm seeing a little more dark colors in the helmet. But so that's how you do it. You just play around with it and try and get it to be what you want it to be, and then you're ready to cut. This would make a really good picture instead of that outline of Russell. All right. I hope that was helpful and that you make a really cool, I'm super excited to start seeing all the phone stands come in and seeing all the image you guys chose. There's no reason to do just one image. You can do one image on here. You can have it horizontal, vertical. You can have it partially on, partially off. You can add more smaller images over here. You can just do whatever you want. All that I ask is that you keep your image, if it overlaps a little bit to the outside, like mine did to start with, that's actually okay. But if it's like, if you made it like this big, like that's not going to do any, that's going to get in the way of the next person having theirs cut next to yours. So make sure if it's a lot bigger than your phone stand, that you're doing the clipping I showed you to clip it and make it smaller. Or just shrink it down, one of the two. Okay. All right. Best of luck with you. There's no wrong answer to this. So you're not going to, if you send me something that's all like messed up and hard to use, I'm just going to work with you or fix it myself or whatever. I want to see what these turn out to be like. All right. Have a good one, my friends. Enjoy the project, and I hope everything works out perfectly for you.